Welcome to Bookpods. Did you know that just a 2-minute glance at your inbox can physically destroy an entire hour of your cognitive focus?
Yeah, it's actually pretty terrifying when you look at the data.
Right. And today we are on a very specific mission. We're doing a deep dive into a huge stack of expert video analyses, all centered around this one really critical text in modern productivity.
I mean, we're talking about Cal Newport's deep work, which is just a fascinating subject.
Totally. And the problem we're tackling is one you are, likely feeling the friction of every single day. We are looking at what it actually takes to train your brain to achieve elite level, distraction-free focus.
And we're doing this in the context of a world that is fundamentally engineered-like, down to the algorithmic level, to hijack your attention at every possible turn.
Exactly. So we're going to explore the actual neuroscience of learning, how historical geniuses structured their time, and why your evening routine might actually be killing your daily productivity.
Yeah, so whether you're trying to master a complex new skill, get a promotion, or honestly, just stop doom scrolling until 2 in the morning.
Which we are all guilty of.
Oh, absolutely. But this analysis is basically your shortcut to taking your attention back.
Okay, so let's dive right in. To understand how to level up our brains, we first have to kind of identify the invisible forces that are dragging our productivity down, right?
Right. And the sources draw this really sharp, uncompromising distinction between two types of work. There's deep work and there's shallow work.
Okay, define that for me, because
Yeah.
deep work isn't just working hard, right?
No, not at all. Deep work is professional activity performed in a state of totally distraction-free concentration. It pushes your cognitive limits, it creates new value, and it's incredibly hard for an algorithm or a competitor to replicate.
And shallow work is the opposite.
Exactly. It's the insidious opposite. It mimics productivity. It's the, constant instant messaging, answering random emails, organizing folders.
Pushing papers around.
Basically. It gives you a quick dopamine hit, but it requires almost zero true cognitive strain.
Well, and the paradox the sources point out here is wild. The ability to do deep work is becoming increasingly rare. At the exact same time, it's becoming highly valuable.
Yeah, in our globalized economy, that focus is your ultimate leverage.
Okay, let's unpack this because I love this analogy from one of the videos. Trying to compete in today's economy with a distracted brain is basically like trying to compete in a Fortnite tournament while running Windows 95.
That is a perfect way to put it.
Right. You might have the raw talent, but your operating system keeps freezing because you have 50 background apps running.
And what's fascinating here is the underlying economic reality. Low-level knowledge work, that shallow work, is becoming entirely commoditized.
Because of AI and outsourcing.
Exactly. So mastering hard things quickly is really the only way to thrive now. But it goes deeper than economics. It's a hard biological limitation.
Yeah, let's talk about the neuroscience part. Because the sources mention this thing called myelin. What is that exactly?
So myelin is this white, fatty tissue that develops around your neural circuits. Think of it as upgrading your brain from a dial-up connection to fiber optics.
Oh, wow. Oh.
When you practice uninterrupted concentration, you force a specific neural circuit to fire in total isolation. And as it fires without the noise of, say, a Slack notification or a podcast, your brain wraps that specific circuit in more myelin.
So the electrical impulses actually travel faster.
Exponentially faster and cleaner. You are literally upgrading your brain's hardware.
But if you're trying to learn to code and you have TikTok open on a second monitor,
you're firing completely unrelated neural circuits all at once. The myelin never properly forms.
Which brings us to this concept from business professor Sophie Leroy, attention residue.
Yes, this is a huge concept. Her research shows that when you switch from task A to task B, your attention does not cleanly follow you.
Like a piece of your brain is stuck in the past.
Precisely. A significant chunk of your cognitive processing power is left lingering on the old task.
So even if I'm deep into writing a script and I just, quickly check my inbox for 2 minutes.
Even if you just scan the subject lines and don't reply.
Wait, really? Just scanning does it?
Just scanning. You've introduced attention residue. When you look back at your script, you're operating at a severely diminished cognitive capacity.
That is so depressing.
It is. But it explains why a 2-minute distraction can kill an hour of focus. Your brain needs an immense amount of time to clear that residue.
Okay, so if constant distraction is the disease, what does the cure actually look like? Because I'm guessing it's not a one-size-fits-all thing.
Definitely not. The sources break down 4 distinct approaches to finding your deep work persona.
Hmm.
You have to find what actually fits your life.
Right, so the first one is the monastic approach.
Yeah, this is total isolation. Like the sci-fi writer Neil Stephenson, he basically eliminated all shallow work. No email, no social media, just pure creation.
I mean, that sounds amazing, but if I tried that, I'd just get fired.
Exactly. If you ignore your team, you're not a monk, you're just unemployed.
So what's a more realistic option?
The second approach is the bimodal approach. This is splitting your time fiercely between deep focus and normal tasks.
Oh, like Carl Jung.
Yeah.
The sources mentioned he retreated to this rustic stone house in the woods to write, and then went back to his busy clinical practice in Zurich.
Right. He compartmentalized the 2 modes physically, but if you can't buy a house in the woods, there's the rhythmic approach.
Which is probably the most actionable for normal people, right?
Definitely. It's building a steady daily habit, blocking out the exact same hours every single day, so it just becomes a rhythm. It fits perfectly into a 9 to 5.
And then the last one was the journalistic approach.
Yes, fitting deep work into unexpected gaps, like biographer Walter Isaacson. If his flight is delayed for 20 minutes, he'll drop into deep focus, write a page, and snap out of it.
But the videos gave a pretty strong warning about that one.
Oh, massive warning. It is not for beginners. You need a highly trained brain to switch gears that fast without getting crushed by attention residue.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting to me. Because choosing a schedule is one thing, but actually doing it is hard.
Yeah.
The sources brought up this crazy story about J.K. Rowling.
Oh, when she was finishing The Deathly Hallows.
Yeah, she was at home, kids running around, dogs barking, window cleaners banging on the glass. So she drops a small fortune to check into this super luxurious suite at the Balmoral Hotel just to finish the book.
Right, to escape the noise.
But, I mean, can a normal person really just check into a 5-star hotel every time they need to focus?
Well, no, but the expert analysis points out that the luxury hotel isn't the point. It's about building a cast iron time box.
A time box.
Yeah. By paying that much money and changing locations, she was signaling to her nervous system that this time was absolutely sacred.
Oh, I see.
You don't need a hotel for that. Every time you schedule deep work but give in to a quick distraction like checking your phone, you drill a structural hole in your mental focus wall.
So you're basically training your brain that the wall is fake.
Exactly. The boundaries become porous. But every time you fiercely resist that urge, you patch a hole. Eventually, that wall becomes solid cast iron.
Which sounds great, but resisting that urge is biologically exhausting. There was a study by Hoffman and Baumeister in the sources. They found people failed to resist the temptation of a distraction, like 50% of the time.
We are hardwired for novelty. We
Yeah.
constantly want new information.
Which is why we need to actually train our brains to be bored.
Yeah.
Which sounds so counterintuitive.
It does, but it's crucial. You have to use the idle gaps in your day.
Like waiting at the dentist or something.
Right. Or just waiting for a pot of water to boil. Most people instantly grab their phone to look at TikTok.
Guilty.
We all do it. But the sources argue you need to just sit there in silence. Experience the friction of doing nothing.
Because if you can't handle 2 minutes of boredom in a grocery line, you're definitely going to quit when your deep work gets difficult.
Exactly. You'll seek a digital escape hatch immediately.
That ties perfectly into this really aggressive strategy they suggested, the 30-day social media cleanse.
Oh, this is brilliant.
But it's not the normal one where you post a big dramatic announcement that you're leaving. You just quit all platforms for a month. You don't tell anyone. And then at the end, you ask yourself 2 questions.
Did this platform add actual value to my life? And did anyone even notice I was gone?
Brutal, but necessary.
It forces you to confront the any benefit trap.
Wait, explain the any benefit trap again.
It's the justification we use where just because a platform gives us some microscopic benefit, we think we have to keep it.
Oh, like seeing a high school friend's vacation photos on Facebook.
Right. Yes, it offers some benefit, but is that worth trading your finite time and focus for? Usually not.
So to build up that focus, the videos also introduce this idea of productive meditation, which is basically multitasking the right way.
Yeah, it's taking a physical activity that takes 0 brain power, like walking the dog, and focusing your mind entirely on solving one single professional or creative problem.
No podcasts, no music, just thinking.
Just wrestling with one variable. It trains your working memory.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, Newport says that once you're wired for distraction, You physically crave it.
You do, which is why his ultimate strategy is so wild. He says don't schedule breaks from distraction. Instead, schedule your distractions.
That is completely backward from how everyone
I
operates.
know. But you basically block out specific times when you are allowed to use the internet. And until that time hits, absolutely no connectivity is allowed.
So you dictate the terms, not the algorithm.
Exactly. You're taking the power back.
Okay, so let's say you've put in all this work. You've embraced boredom, built your cast iron time box, and done a massive deep work session. You're done, right?
Well, not quite. The way you end your day dictates how well you work tomorrow. It's the concept of the productivity of laziness.
Okay, I love the sound of that.
It's just like lifting weights. The muscle growth doesn't happen when you're lifting, it happens during recovery. Working late into the evening is actually terrible for you because willpower is a finite resource.
This reminds me of that software company from the Sources Basecamp. They cut their work week to 4 days and instituted a shallow work budget.
Yes, and their productivity stayed sky high because employees were forced to focus only on what actually mattered.
But to get that kind of focus, you need a way to completely detach at night. Which brings us to the shutdown ritual.
This is a game changer.
You dedicate the last 10 minutes of your day to brain dumping every unfinished task onto paper, planning tomorrow, and then literally saying a phrase out loud, like, shutdown complete.
I know it sounds cheesy, but it works because of the Zeigarnik effect.
Which is what? The brain obsessing over open loops.
Exactly. Unfinished tasks haunt your subconscious. By writing the plan down and speaking the phrase, you formally close the loops.
So you don't end up checking emails on the couch and borrowing energy from tomorrow.
Right, you have to preserve that cognitive energy.
But wait, so what does this all mean? Am I supposed to just clock out and stare blankly at the TV waiting for reruns? Like a complete couch potato?
No, and this raises a really important question about human happiness. Your mental faculties don't tire the same way your physical muscles do.
So they don't need us to just zone out entirely.
No, they need meaningful engagement. The psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi found that the happiest people aren't just relaxing on a couch.
Right, the whole flow state research.
Exactly. The happiest people are stretching their brains in a flow state on something difficult but engaging.
Sleep and true disconnection are just the interest we pay on the loan of that intense focus.
Beautifully put.
It really connects everything back to you, the listener. Because what you focus on shapes your reality.
You don't need more time in your day, you need more focus.
Cultivating deep work doesn't just make you better at your job. It literally buys you your freedom. It leads to a happier, more meaningful life.
It gives you your autonomy back from the noise.
Absolutely. But before we wrap up, there was this one detail in the sources we didn't touch on, and I want to leave you with it as a final thought.
Oh, the Bill Gates story.
Yes. Back in 1974, Bill Gates was coding the first version of BASIC, and he entered this 8-week stretch of deep work that was so intense he would literally fall asleep on his keyboard.
Just collapse mid-code.
Right. And then you'd wake up an hour later, look at the screen, and immediately start coding again.
It's an almost terrifying level of obsession.
It is. So I want to pose this thought to you, the listener. In a modern culture that is so obsessed with perfectly balanced daily routines, what if the greatest breakthroughs in our lives actually require periods of absolute obsessive imbalance?
That is definitely something to chew on the next time you sit down to work.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. See you next time.